This is Performance Theory with Mike Clark.
Welcome to Season 3 of Performance Theory. I'm your host, Mike Clark. I'm very excited to start off this season with our first guest, who some of you might know. Back in 2011, he burst onto the global fitness scene by gaining 75 pounds of fat in only 6 months. He transitioned himself from that athlete and personal trainer into somebody who was inactive and obese in order to better empathize with his clients. Now, 9 years later, he's doing it all again. Please welcome to the show, Drew Manning. How's things going? You're 6 days in on your new Fit2Fat2Forty journey, right?
Yeah. Today's day 7, but 6 days in. Tomorrow's like a full week, right? So, still alive, still surviving. Little small noticeable changes for sure. As far as weight gain goes, I know I'm going to be probably, my guess is 10 pounds, but we'll see tomorrow morning. I weigh in tomorrow morning. Sleepy, super sleepy, eating this much sugar, like almost 1,000 grams of carbs a day is a lot.
Oh, wow.
So it's been, hasn't been too hard yet. Everything's going okay, but I know it's going to get harder. The first month is kind of like where things are easy-ish.
Yeah.
And then 2, 3, and 4 is where it gets hard.
So for those people that aren't familiar with your story, you're known as a Fit2Fat2Fit guy. You, in 2011, gained about 75 pounds, correct?
That's correct.
And it was about 6 months of weight gain. And then how long did it take you to lose that?
6 months.
6 months as well? And what was the initial motivation behind that journey?
That journey was, I grew up in a family of 11 brothers and sisters, and we all played sports. So football and wrestling since I was a young age. So I never once experienced what it was like to be overweight until that first journey of Fit2Fat2Fit in 2011. So at that time, it was for me to gain a better understanding of what it's like to be overweight for the first time in my life so that I could better relate to my clients on why it was so hard for them just to do what I told them to do. Because like for me, in my mind, I'm like, you guys, it's so simple. You put down the junk food, you go to the gym. Like it's not that difficult, but they would struggle. And I couldn't understand why until I was humbled when I did my first Fit2Fat2Fit experiment.
And I think that's something that a lot of trainers don't realize. Like myself, I was 275 at one point and I lost 70 pounds. And I got to tell you, I'm so impressed that you're not just doing that once. You are now embarking on the second one, which is the Fit2Fat2Forty, because I did it once coming from 275 and I never want to do that journey again. So I really praise you that you're going to try and do it again. So this time that you're doing it, is there a different motivation than empathy, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's different this time around. Last time around, I learned empathy through this experience. I was more empathetic because my eyes were opened. I was truly humbled, saw things through a different perspective, especially when it comes to the mental and emotional side of transformation. And the emotional connection to food is way more powerful than I ever thought it was. And so going through that first journey was about me learning what it's like. This time around, I kind of know what to expect. I know the lessons that I learned. This time around, it's not so much about me, but it's about spreading that message of empathy in this industry that I feel like lacks empathy and needs change. So this time around, doing Fit2Fat2Forty is more of a vehicle to get my message across to hopefully make some change in this industry, but also make a change in this world. Because in 2020, with how things have been going, it's a year of radical change for a lot of people. And I feel like now is the time to change a lot of things about ourselves. And empathy, if we can develop empathy for other people, especially in this industry where people who are overweight are judged and labeled as lazy and less than, and they lack discipline, I want to bring empathy and understanding to this industry for those that struggle, because it's harder than people think it is. You know that firsthand, Mike. You really do. And other people don't. And I feel like no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care first. And so it's time we bridge that gap and we bring empathy to this industry to help those who struggle. And that's what the second journey really is all about. And then the second part of it is being 40. Doing it again as a 40-year-old is going to be much different, putting that age and different metabolism to the test in hopes to inspire other people my age or even older that, hey, it's still possible to be fit after 40, and this is how you do it. We're going to do it together as a team. I'll hold your hand every step of the way. Come January of 2021, we'll do this together. And that's kind of the different reasons for why I'm doing it this time.
When you're gaining weight this time, how are you gaining it as opposed to last time? Like, is there still the cinnamon toast crunch and still Mountain Dew?
Yes, but there's going to be a different twist this time around. Last time in 2011, my approach was a little bit different than Morgan Spurlock. I'm not sure if you've seen the documentary Super Size Me, right? He
Yes.
focused on fast food. I think most Americans know fast food is super unhealthy, right? What I did the first time around was bring awareness to just how unhealthy processed American food is. So all the cheap, convenient stuff you can buy at the grocery store, sugary cereals, sodas, juices, granola bars, chips, cookies, crackers, mac and cheese, SpaghettiOs, Hot Pockets, like Top Ramen, like these foods that we lived off of in the 80s, right? Because we were taught that's not that unhealthy for us. So that was the first journey. This time around, there's going to be a little bit of that sprinkled in, but I want to bring awareness to 4 popular fad diets and kind of expose those fad diets, even though I'm a huge fan of one of them, and that is keto. So I'll be doing keto, paleo, vegan, and vegetarian as I gain the weight. And this is going to shock people because I want to expose the pitfalls and the mistakes that people make on these 4 popular fad diets to educate people on what not to do. Because a lot of times people think, oh, well, I'm keto and I've gained weight, or I'm vegan and my health is declining. Why is that happening? And so I want to show people what not to do on the weight gain phase. But then on the journey back to fit, we'll revisit each of those diets and do them the right way, the healthy way, so that people can have different tools in their tool belt to figure out, okay, well, I'm not keto, so I can't do Drew's journey. But then, I'm also going to educate on paleo and vegan and vegetarian to give people all the tools so that no matter what they do it in a healthy manner. And that's kind of what this journey is about. There's going to be more education this time around.
And I get a lot of that too, because I've been keto for about 4 years. And people are like, well, I'm doing keto, but I'm still gaining weight. And then, you ask for their breakdown of what they're eating, and it's still unhealthy fats. And you're eating 75% fat, but it's all unhealthy, which isn't going to help you at all. Yeah. Now, how have you mentally prepared for this? Because I know I've watched the TV show. I saw that it was a struggle for you. So how have you changed your mental preparation? Because before you didn't really know what you were going to be doing or how it was going to affect you going into it.
Yeah, that's a good question. This time around, I'm such a different person. Like back when I was 31 in 2011, I was very young, very naive, very self-obsessed with my body image as my self-image. And that first journey truly humbled me because I was so uncomfortable, Mike. I would go out in public and to strangers, I wanted to explain to them that I wasn't really overweight. It was just an experiment. Like, this isn't normally me. Because in my mind, my identity was Drew the fit guy my entire first 30 years of my life. But it took me going through that first experience to be humbled and realize that there's more to me than my body. My body can do these amazing things, but it's not my identity. It's not my self-image. And so my hope is this time around, I can help educate people on separating their body image as their self-image. And so some of the things I'm going to be doing during this journey, during the weight gain phase, because I can't exercise. And, for people like you and me, Mike, like exercise is therapy. It's therapeutic. It's stress relieving. So I don't have that outlet anymore. So I plan on doing things like meditation still, journaling, a gratitude list every single day to help my mindset hopefully not turn into a negative mindset about my situation. And this time around, I don't feel I'll be as obsessed about my body image. I plan on putting myself in very uncomfortable situations, taking my shirt off, in front of my girlfriend or like out in public, like going to a pool, and just putting myself in these uncomfortable situations to see how I handle them versus last time, super uncomfortable. I avoided the pool. I avoided the beach. I avoided taking my shirt off in public. This time around, I definitely want to embrace that to show people, look, you can still love your body even though it's overweight. Like, you don't need to be ashamed of it, even though it's not the way you want it to be. Like, it's possible to love your body now, even though it's not perfect. It doesn't have 5% body fat. As you continue to work on a better version of yourself, because I promise you, you're going to be so much more fulfilled with the journey if you could learn to love yourself now with how imperfect things are. And then that way, when and if you get that perfect body that you're thinking is going to bring you happiness, I promise you, you'll already be fulfilled, even without the perfect body. The problem is that people's perception in this industry is they think one day, once I get this body, then people will love me. Then people will respect me and all my problems will go away. And I wish that were the case. I wish that once you get that body of 5% body fat, then, everyone loves you. But I know people personally that have amazing bodies, but still pick themselves apart, still hate themselves. And so it doesn't guarantee happiness. Same thing with money, right?
Yeah.
You chase after the money thinking once I have this much money, then I can finally relax and then people will love me and then people will respect me and then I'll love myself. But that's not what life's about.
And
About learning how to do that now.
That's very important because I know just from my own journey, coming down from 275, and I went as low as 172.
Wow.
And I remember being in the pool, and my wife was going to go take a picture, and I was, I think, at 185 at that point, and I went, "Don't take a picture," because I'm in my head, I still saw myself as huge. She took a picture and posted on Facebook. I looked at it later on that evening, and I was like looking at myself going, "Holy cow, eat a burger." Like I was too small. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize is even when you do lose the weight, you have to change your attitude, change your perspective, because you're still going to see yourself as that larger person. And you need to change that perspective so that just mentally you're healthy.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think that's why a lot of people end up gaining the weight back after they've done a weight loss journey. And fortunately for you, you've been able to figure that out, that mindset shift. But for other people, they don't know how to separate their body image as their self-image. And so they lose the weight, but in their mind, they're still this overweight person. And then they gravitate back to those old patterns, those old habits, because that's what they've set as their set point throughout their whole life. And so it requires a huge mindset shift. And that's kind of what I plan on doing during this Fit2Fat2Forty journey, is helping people with that mindset shift. As we focus on a physical transformation, there's going to be a lot of help on the mental and emotional side as well, so that people can achieve that mindset shift that we're talking about.
Now, how have you prepared your girlfriend or your daughters? Because I think one of your daughters was only 2 years old the first time you did it, right?
Yeah, so my daughters are 9 and 11, so I'll start with that, then I'll talk about my girlfriend. This time around, I sat down with my ex-wife, who we're still good friends, you know, that she's the mother of my children, and with my girlfriend, and to sit down with them to say, hey, you guys, this is obviously happening. Our girls are 9 and 11 now. They're definitely more aware. They're definitely going to be seeing what I'm doing. They're going to be wanting the food. How do we navigate these waters of like not sheltering them completely and saying, you can't touch any of this stuff, it's bad, because I don't want them to label food as good or bad. That's a very unhealthy relationship with food. But also be aware of the fact that they're going to want this food for sure over broccoli and spinach. So how do we get them to still eat the healthy food, but find that balance of like, okay, maybe every once in a while they can have some of this food. And what we agreed upon is, how about once a day, they get to pick one food that they get to enjoy with me, but the rest of the food throughout the day, they have to agree to eat what I make them. So I plan on meal prepping different foods for them and for my girlfriend, so that they can realize that this is about health, and that this isn't so much about me gaining weight and losing weight, but for them, they eat these healthy foods because they feel better eating those foods. They're going to see me feel lethargic. They're going to see me feel sleepy and moody, and they'll be able to see the downsides of eating that way. But then on the journey back to fit, that's where I think it'll be really educational for them to kind of see, you know, how much more positive I am, how much more energy I have, to see the health aspect of it all. As far as my girlfriend goes, I joke around that I made her sign a contract before this journey started so she couldn't break up with me, because I do change. You do change as a person. Like when you start eating this unhealthy food, you live a sedentary lifestyle, your hormones are affected. And so when your hormones are different, for example, my testosterone I know is going to drop pretty significantly, low libido, low energy, less helpful around the house, maybe more moody. It just is part of the journey. And so like with her, she's luckily good friends with my ex-wife, and they've been able to kind of like team up in a way where like my ex-wife has prepared her for what's going to happen. And luckily me and my girlfriend, we still have like our morning routine where we meditate together in the morning, so that we can kind of talk through issues, you know, that I'm having, where maybe I'm not as energetic, maybe I'm not as nice, maybe my libido is lower, and we have to talk through that. So, and she knows it's going to be temporary. So luckily, she hasn't broken up with me yet.
What does your typical day look like before this, and what does your typical day look like now?
Perfect. That's a great question to ask, because I want to give people that visual. So before this, I was more of a keto/intermittent fasting approach, where I would eat mostly, you know, healthy fats, you know, 60 to 70% fat, 25% protein, maybe 30% on some days, and then 5 or 10% less of carbohydrates. So I wasn't 100% strict keto all the time, but I would generally have coffee with some of my MCT oil powder in the morning, and then I would fast until lunch. And then lunch would be, a pretty large meal, probably around 1,500 calories. And same thing with dinner, 1,500 calories, somewhere around that. So 3,000 calories for me was something that was sustainable, where I could maintain my muscle mass. I could have enough energy to work out. My brain, the mental clarity, I felt really sharp. And my digestion was really good. Fast forward to today, I'm averaging around 6,600 calories a day eating these highly processed foods. And I know people think, that's so much food. Like, how do you fit that in? Like, if I was eating 6,000 calories of keto, like whole food, that would be super hard. That would be almost impossible for me to get that much food in. But with the processed food, where I wake up in the morning, I have like a sugary bowl of cereal, and like, let's be honest, no one eats one serving of that stuff because it's so delicious. I have 3 cups of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah.
I'll have a big, huge glass of juice. I'll have maybe a couple pieces of toast with either butter or peanut butter on it. I'll have a banana with peanut butter. And then for snack, like all that calories that I just mentioned right there, that food was probably around 1,500 calories right there. For a snack, I'll probably have a granola bar, some chips, and maybe like a yogurt with some Mountain Dew. And then for lunch, I'll probably have like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like a frozen burrito, some chips, and maybe some Gatorade. And then for snack between lunch and dinner is a similar snack, maybe some a granola bar and some different type of chips, more Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew, but I'll mix up my sodas. And then for dinner, I'll make myself maybe white pasta marinara sauce with some meatballs, or I'll do like some leftover pizza or whatever I have in the fridge. That's like, there's so much processed food. Like I could heat up some Hot Pockets, and then for dessert, maybe a couple cookies, maybe some ice cream, maybe some like Almond Joys. Like I love Almond Joys. Those are really good. It just depends on what I have in my fridge, but all these foods are highly processed foods. They're very cheap, super affordable, cheaper than real food. And they're convenient. Like I don't have to put a lot of prep time into these foods, like warm it up in the microwave, in the oven. Like it's super simple. And I'll be honest with you, Mike, they taste really good. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like these foods are designed to be hyper palatable and light up your brain when you eat this food to be like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So 6,600 calories comes pretty easily. I'm not stuffing my face every meal. I'm not like doing a food challenge every meal. I'm just eating till I'm full, and then I eat again when I'm hungry.
Yeah. And, I've been already following you, what you're eating. And I think you either posted yesterday or the day before, and nothing is that large a quantity. It's just exactly what you said. You have a couple pieces of pizza and everything that you just said that you normally eat. A lot of people, that's their average daily intake, and they don't really see anything wrong with it because granola bars are healthy, right? Because that's how they promote them. Now, as you go along with this, more than just the before and after pictures, how are you monitoring your health?
Yeah, great question. So this time around, I have access to some amazing doctors. So I have 2 doctors. One, my general practitioner that's doing all my blood work. He's doing a full lipid profile. He's testing my insulin levels, my A1C, so my inflammation as well. And then we're also, what else are we doing? We're doing some like EKGs. He's testing, he's doing an ultrasound on some of my organs to see how those are going to change, testing my arteries to see if those, those change throughout the journey. I can't remember the names of the tests right now. But then I also have another doctor she's a sexual health expert. She's going to be measuring my sex hormones as I go throughout this journey, because this is something I want to educate people on. When you eat this lifestyle, it affects your sexual health. It affects your erections. It affects, your libido, and people don't see that. So I want to show people that. I also have a CGM device. I don't know if we're doing video for this.
Yep.
This is a continuous glucose monitor on the back of my shoulder and tricep. That measures my glucose levels. You could see my glucose levels as I drink a glass of juice or have a banana or have a cookie. You get to see my glucose levels throughout the day. I'm also tracking my sleep on this Whoop device. It tracks my HRV, my heart rate variability. It tracks my sleep quality. I'm also tracking my macros and calories on my FitnessPal. Let's see. Oh, I'm also working with a brain and memory expert that we did some really cool baseline tests to test my brain and memory function. And then we'll revisit that throughout the journey, at my heaviest and then back when I get back to fit. I did the VO2 max. I will be doing body fat percentage throughout the journey. Also, obviously, my scale weight and my measurements. And then some baseline fitness tests. Like I did a CrossFit workout. Can't remember the name of it. I'll think of it. But basically, if you go to my my social media, you'll be able to see that video. And then also a cardiovascular step test, which measures my heart rate and how quickly it returns to baseline or how slow it returns to baseline as I gain the weight. So I have all this data. You can follow me at Fit2Fat2Fit on social media to see everything I'm tracking, so you can kind of be a part of the whole journey to see what not to do the opposite of what I'm doing, people. And then come January, we'll do this journey back to fit together as a team, as a community. I'll hold your hand every step of the way, show you exactly what I'm doing so that you can see that it's not some crazy extreme lifestyle I'm living. It's sustainable as a busy dad. I don't have a ton of hours in the day to be at the gym. So you'll kind of see what I'll be doing on both sides of the journey.
So what are you doing to fill your time now? I think it was yesterday you posted that you were looking at possibly picking up a gaming console. And
you saw that.
Yeah.
Because I have 2 hours extra in the day because driving to the gym is about almost 30 minutes one way. So 30 minutes there and back is 1 hour. 1 hour of working out. That's 2 hours total. I thought maybe, I asked how many 40-year-olds play some type of video game, and a lot of people do. And I thought maybe this would be something cool to do as a family, where it's not just me playing video games, ignoring my responsibilities as a dad or as a boyfriend, but something we could do together that doesn't require a lot of calories because I can't exercise, right?
Yeah.
I take my dog on a 10-minute walk per day. That's pretty much all the exercise I'm getting other than laundry and cleaning the house and those kinds of things. It's something I'm considering. I just got to convince my girlfriend. So you guys got to help me convince her to let me get a gaming system.
Are you going to be, do you have a camera crew following you or anything? Are you putting something together for the future?
Yeah. This time around, luckily I have a camera crew. A lot of it is just like diary stuff where I have a camera set up here in my office. I have a little handheld device to take with me everywhere to kind of show people what I'm eating throughout the day. And then I have a camera crew following me around a couple days a week to show my food challenges, my weigh-ins, the mental and emotional changes, the physical changes that are happening. So this is going to be a lot more well documented than the first time around. I think that'll be really powerful for people to see. Even after this happens, after this journey happens, it'll be accessible, possibly in a documentary platform.
Now, will you be writing a follow-up book to your original Fit to Fat to Fit book?
That's a good question. As of right now, there's no book deal happening. It might be something that I would consider, but right now my main focus is more so on the filming of this, and I think that's how people mostly consume a lot of their content. But the book thing is something that's still on my radar. I still plan on blogging throughout this journey. So that's the thing, is I'm blogging, I'm podcasting, I'm videoing, and capturing as much as I can in all the different platforms. So because people consume media differently, some people like the podcast, some people like the video, some people just like the social media aspect of it. It just depends. So there's something for everyone.
So a couple years ago, I did a photo shoot for TRX, and unfortunately, I did not watermark the picture. So it's it's been all over. I'm selling Amazon, I'm selling Walmart, Dick's, all that stuff. So how many times have you seen yourself selling magic weight loss pills online?
I've seen all kinds of pills and slimming. What do you call those slimming things that people wear to wear around their waist? I've seen all kinds of stuff, but luckily, I've seen that slow down over the years. But I definitely need to make sure this time around everything will be watermarked.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time. If people are looking to follow you on social media, where can they go?
Yeah, so my social media handles are all at Fit2Fat2Fit. But I would also highly recommend everyone going to Fit2Fat2Forty.com. That's either 40 or FORTY.com to sign up to be able to, be notified when everything happens, when the journey back to fit starts, when I go live, when I put out a new video, so that you don't miss out on any of it. Because sometimes on social media, you might be following me, but you might not get notified or you might not see my posts. So head over to Fit2Fat2Forty.com so that you don't miss out on anything.
And one of the things that I did this morning myself, I followed you on MyFitnessPal.
Yes, you can follow me on MyFitnessPal. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey to watch. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and good luck with gaining weight.
Thanks, Mike. We'll have to revisit this when I'm at my heaviest and let people know how the whole journey went.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
You too. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Performance Theory. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to MikeClarkLife.com to find my social media links, access previous episodes of the podcast, and discover fantastic bonus content. I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes as well. Until next time.